What is going on, guys? This Dealer here back again with RDX, the gaming podcast that primarily focuses on Xbox, but we do cover just about everything in the universe. We've got a ton of great topics and an even more amazing panel today, featuring such badasses as the Ashen Luca, the scoundrel. She has decided to join us today. What's going on?
Hey man, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here with my big bro and the RDX dudes. This is great. Thank you. No, I know I just said thank you for having me. I'm excited. It's been a while since I've been on RDX, so I'm looking forward to these topics.
Yes, we love having you on. We've also got the Cody Eastwood, the naughty dog of gaming, if you will. He's been deemed one of the most dangerous men on YouTube. How you been, bud?
Really good. Today's going to be super awesome. I'm excited. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, and I just don't even know what's coming first.
Yeah, I don't either. I've been in such a rush deciding to put out that video last minute. Hey, so Shady, you coughed, so you're up. What's been going on, bud?
I am up, and hey, I'm going to say it's good to be back Tuesday again. That means it's RDX, and man, we got some awesome topics tonight. It's going to fire some people up, I think.
Well, let's hope we got a logical crowd tonight. No, we got an amazing chat, so we had no problem there. We've also got D-Batch. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, man? Just in time. And I gotta say, I'm so excited for today's show. Like, we have a mega ton of news to deliver. And I gotta say, for those that thought that Xbox was getting out of the console business, I got some news for you. That's not happening.
Wow, that's right. I don't know. I'm interested in hearing what you got to say now. Fuck. Oh, we've also
from everything that we're looking at least a minimum 3 new consoles, and if the fourth one, if it's to be believed, the diskless Xbox, that's going to be 4 Xboxes that are going to be in the market from now to 2020. That's just insane.
That is to be believed. That you'll hear about that next Xbox, diskless one, like next month, I think. So, don't tell anybody. Hey, we've also got Zalker, bud. What's going on?
Saving the best for last. Crispy Smooth is here. Chat, we're happy to have you here.
Today we're talking about some really... Okay, good.
Oh, man. It's good to see everybody. Yeah, man, let's have a good chat. We have some awesome topics, including something in the sky. Is that cloud we're talking about? What the hell?
I don't think we're talking about a cloud, no.
Oh, okay. We'll see.
There's no cloud.
No more space cake for you, Zalker.
Starting to rain.
We can't talk about the cloud because one of these alleged consoles using the cloud, so we can talk about it later. I guess
we have a ton of information on all that crap at the towards the back half of the show as well, so that's when Luca can just take a nap. But we got a lot of good stuff in the meantime, because I know Luca, I love having Luca on, but every single time it seems to match up. I thought about it, I'm like, we got a lot of tech stuff today, man. But she hangs in there. She does the job.
No, that's when she's handling the chat feed for us. She's on point. Yeah,
crushing. We've also got to give a shout out to the RDX sponsors, starting with Gucci Duffel Bag. We've got Prime Suspect. We've got Michael Bohm. We've got Channing Pennington. We've got Guillermo Cavillo. We've got Lethal Papa. We've got Robert Prather. And here soon we should have some more if you want to sponsor the show. And there's a ton of other options. Patreon down below. Thank you guys so much for what you do. It means the world. If I can get out of this stupid thing on my screen here. Yeah, this new app. I kept deleting my topics on accident, so I definitely had to switch it up. So yeah, Darge Knight, Lethal Papa, Robert Prather, thank you guys so much for what you do. And I just pumped out a video about this. Sony games coming to every device. What is the deal? We learned about this thanks to Sean786 on Twitter. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
He's the best.
Yeah, he definitely pointed us in the right direction. And this was kind of interesting, Luca. It's a job listing leaked where they are working on bringing all of these Sony games through PlayStation Now. Keep in mind, PlayStation Now has over 200 PS4 games in it right now. Games like Bloodborne, Killzone, some of like Last of Us, I think, Uncharted, some of the PS3 versions of stuff there. But either way, they're looking to expand, bringing that to mobile, Luca. Is this it's kind of weird, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I'm very shocked, honestly. Like, I've heard for so long that cloud is not where it's at, and they're not bringing any games to any other devices, and they would never do something like that, even though that's where the industry is heading, and it's been We've been seeing signs of this for years, but that's none of my business.
Is it weird that they bought a cloud company like Gaikai and now they're actually using it?
No, yeah, it's
You have to be a
shocking.
genius to like see this coming, Luca.
Yeah, like I don't know what to say, honestly. People are just like, I don't know if they're deliberately acting like they don't understand basic concepts or if they're actually just stupid, but
They're stupid.
I mean, like, I saw this coming and I'm not even into tech like that. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about what makes sense, this makes sense. Like, we are getting further and further into an all digital future. It's just how it is, man. Like, I'm not even surprised.
And like you said, you don't even really follow the tech world all that much. I mean, you're knowledgeable about it, but you don't sit there and look it up and try to find out new things. And what's the trend here? And what's Microsoft doing? What's Sony doing? And this still makes perfect sense to you. It makes sense because it's common sense, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
So, D, you got some things to say here?
Yeah, well, first I want to ask you, does this mean that Sony has no exclusives anymore?
Oh, man.
Well, not according to some people that were definitely riding Microsoft's sack 2 weeks ago when they announced that their games would be coming to any device. They said, well, this means that, all their games are going to come to PlayStation. So, I mean, I don't know, D, does it?
I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see, but I'm sure if they want traction, they're gonna have to release some of their exclusive content to wherever they want to bring these streaming games to. I'll say this: streaming is definitely the future. Just today, I was playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, streaming it from Project Google Stream or whatever it's called, and it's fantastic. Streaming is going to play a big role in gaming going forward. Of course, you're going to have your traditional console. It's never going to replace the traditional console, but for the casual that they're going to a hotel, they just want to throw on a game and play with their buddies, or they want to carry their progress forward from when they were at home. This is perfect for them. It's not going to take over the mass market, but it has its place, and I think it's going to make an impact.
Well said. I want to hear what Colt Eastwood has to say about it.
I want to ask D how I think I might have asked this before, but how is streaming that game on Google Project Stream?
Well, technically I shouldn't be streaming it because I'm in Canada, but I did my little tricks, so I got it up and running. And honestly, tell you, it's really good. Of course, there is a lag there. Digital Foundry, they did their analysis on it, and they said there is some lag. So I'm not going to dispute their numbers, but that lag is imperceivable to me. Like when I'm moving my character, it just moves. Like it feels like I'm playing on local hardware. I don't perceive any type of lag. The only thing that I will say that the odd time is that I can see some compression artifacts, which is to be expected with this technology, but it's nothing that distracts you from the overall experience. I gotta say, streaming on the Project Stream or whatever they call it, Google Stream, it's awesome. And they're not even going to be at the forefront of this technology. I truly believe that Microsoft is really going to be the ones that nail this. And if Google is doing it so good already, I can just imagine what Microsoft is going to be capable of doing.
So what you're saying is PS4 has no games. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
What I wanted to say about that is kind of what Dee said. Like, this is a secondary additional option that is going to be really beneficial. Like, everyone says, this is trash. I don't want to stream games because that's not how I want to play. This is not the takeover. This is just another way to play your games. And if we spend $60 on a game, and it's good if you can play it other places.
Shady, I need you to reel this in and just go ham on this PS4 games coming to every device thing.
Oh, who the hell needs a PlayStation now, boys? I mean, geez, it's unnecessary. I look forward to playing all these PlayStation exclusives on my Xbox because they're obviously coming to the platform. Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tashiki Mushrooms, it's coming to the Xbox, and I can't wait to play it. I mean, in all seriousness, this is something that I've wanted to see the industry go to for a very long time. I'm not a fan of exclusive content. It is anti-consumer by its very definition. It keeps content away from people. Unless you jump into that ecosystem, I would much rather not pay $300, $400, $500 for a PS5 and use that money on games. If I don't have to buy a PlayStation for the 4 or 5 games in the entire gen that generally interest me, score. So I think it's a great move on Sony to keep doing this. I think they have a couple more announcements to go before they're on par with something like Game Pass and xCloud. They still haven't announced their exclusive games coming day and date. I'm not sure if they will.
They will.
I would imagine they might, but maybe they won't. I mean, so far, the PlayStation exclusives are single player, 30, 40 hours. Those are the type of games that people can jump in, subscribe for a month, play and beat the game, and then jump out, which is what Sony fans or the zealots over there were pointing at Game Pass for the last year and a bit and saying that's all that people are doing is jumping in for a month, playing the game for $10 and getting out like a criminal.
Well, why do they care, though, if you do?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know why anyone really cares, to be honest. But if they're looking for long-term engagement, I think they're going to have to start adding multiplayer modes into their quote-unquote exclusive titles now.
I told you, God of War multiplayer. Everyone's a different color Kratos, and you throw axes at each other. I play it.
It could be pure gold. Like I don't care for narrative tying down my multiplayer. If it's fun and it's multiplayer, I'll play it. I don't need narrative campaign stuff to get in there and maybe get in the way of even having it exist, because like you said, multiple Kratoses, that sounds retarded, but at the same time it could be fun as hell, so why not? But this is good for the industry, guys. I think being able to play all the games that are out there on whatever device suits you as a gamer is absolutely fantastic, and I look forward to hopefully some of this exclusive fanboy narrative getting toned down a little bit, because everyone will have access to everybody's games and we can enjoy them for what they are, not for the damn systems that they're on.
I got to give a shout out to 400 people watching this live, guys. Hit that like button. It really helps, especially podcasts. Let's try to get up to 300 for the end of the show, and maybe share this where you share things. Zalker, wrap this up real quick in a way that's both meaningful and mind-blowing. I expect that from you on your first response here about PlayStation games. Do they really matter anymore? And about the people out there that hammered Microsoft over this a week or two ago, what do you think they're going to say now?
I just beat God of War yesterday or last night, and if I could have played that on my toaster, it would have been such a better experience. And I just feel that way. And but in all honesty, I feel
much easier.
Yeah, right. I could have been eating and playing. It would have been great. But I think this is great for the industry. I think Sony had to do this. I mean, we're seeing a bunch of people, flirting with the gaming market, like Google and Apple and everybody else. And this is something that Sony, they're not a dumb company, people. They saw the change and they knew they had to adapt certain ways. And if you do look at the job posting for this job, the guy that they're hiring or the person that they want to hire or their multiple people need like 15 years experience. Mm-hmm. They're going for high-end, top-level guys that do content distributing networking, which is CDN, and that's what they want. We've talked about their infrastructure before and how it's been pretty bad, especially the name change and how they handled their database. They're going to need to revamp this to actually have it work properly for their fans to have an easy access to their games. Mm-hmm. And they're doing the right thing by investing into high-end people and going to pay them, honestly, a fuck ton of money to get it right. Yep. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with it, because I'm just like Shady. I want my games to be everywhere. I don't want to be boxed into one system in my living room in order to play a goddamn game. I want to be able to play where I want.
How does that, like I said, how does that benefit anybody to be locked down to one? Luca, how does that benefit anybody to be locked down to one device?
It doesn't. Are
you sure?
I'm positive.
You answered that fast as fuck, and I'm trying to figure out why it's so hard to figure out.
It goes back to the common saying that common sense isn't so common, and I think a lot of people get really caught up in this fanboy narrative and this non-existent console war, and they just stop thinking.
They whip out their Pokemon cards and they go to war.
Basically, but I think a lot of people lack the ability to think critically, and people are generally, they want to be a part of the crowd, so they'll go with whatever narrative is the most popular, and they won't do their research on anything or even stop to consider things for themselves. And at the end of the day, they just end up looking ridiculous and stupid. And when things that we talk about months prior come true, it's just kind of like, interesting. Where's the vehemence that you had for Xbox doing this with PlayStation? Because I didn't even know that this was a thing. I haven't seen anybody talk about it.
Yeah, it literally just broke. Like, I just released a video right before this show.
Yep.
And it'll be a thing that's kind of, you'll see it later tonight and all throughout tomorrow. And like I said, the response from the same guys hammering Microsoft, I can't wait to see it. Especially when I've said it a million times on the show. It's only a matter of time before you see PS Now come to mobile. And they're talking about any device. So if it gets if it's able to receive any kind of bandwidth at all, they want to run a game on it, and it is possible. So
Yeah,
I think they're a little way off. I think they're a little way off if they're hiring people for this type. Like I looked at the job listing, I looked at what everything they wanted. Using my background, I used what they were looking for to see how long it would take them to bring it out, and I think they're a little farther behind than people think.
Oh, of course.
I think they're getting the network down and the infrastructure down, but they're doing it the right way. They're not going to just throw it out at people and have a bad experience and pain points where people are not going to come back. They want to get this right because it is the future of gaming.
Let's be honest. They do have PS Now already up and running. They've had it up and running for years. They may be, several years off of this, but at the same time, they've changed what devices can receive PS Now. They've run PS Now on TVs, dedicated boxes. They've run PS Now on a lot of stuff already, and now they're trying to shoot it out to everything. If they do it properly to get that latency down to competitive levels, because right now it is not, then they're gonna have to redo some stuff and try.
Definitely. I'm excited to see the entire industry's reaction when it becomes like an official thing. You know what else I'm excited to see? Spider-Man 2 on my smart refrigerator. Yeah, it looks good, baby, when I'm cooking dinner, swinging around. Oh, man.
I'm calling it right now. 2020 PS5 exclusives via the cloud on the Xbox Anaconda.
Oh, God. All right, D, is that another official?
In actual 4K?
Is that another official prediction there, D?
I just want to.
Okay.
I really feel like this is a smart move for them. I'm not going to say anything extreme like adapt or die, but when it comes to a lot of things, it is an adapt or die situation. Take, for instance, Blockbuster not adapting. And I think, Sony sees where we're heading and they're like, okay, we want a piece of this. We want a piece of that pie. It's going to benefit all of us. So I think it's smart of them.
Think about it. With 2.5 million subscribers, Game Pass is converted to have millions of subscribers with an S. With 2.5 million subscribers, they're making over $320 million a year or something like that, just bringing it in. Yeah. So businesses have the sole purpose of just making money. And if they see a giant revenue stream here, they got the biggest install base already. This is hundreds of millions of dollars per year that Sony are just licking their chops trying to get at right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. They want to do this. They don't give a shit about your little fanboy war on Twitter. Oh, I got this exclusive. They would slap the fuck out of you and say, hey, we're bringing this to cell phones. They don't care.
Yeah. So, and if you look at other industries, I mean, like Borders and Barnes & Noble, Borders went under because they didn't go the tech route. Same with, like Luca just said, Blockbuster. I mean, it's just people evolving. That's all it is. It's like people love tech and having it be convenient to them. And that's what this is all convenient to the gamer. And it does nothing, like being locked down does nothing for you. Nothing. So it's, it's great to have everything where you want it, how you want it, and when you want to play it. That's all that matters, people, is that your games can go where the fuck you want to play them.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are concerned about them not doing traditional hardware anymore. But I mean, I think there's always going to be precedent for traditional hardware. Like CDs are still a thing, so I'm not even concerned about that right now. And I don't think that anyone who is concerned about it should be. It's adapt, man. Adapt or die. It's
just an option, at the end of the day. So, hey, real quick, panel. Everyone do a bump and then answer this question. PlayStation games coming to Xbox, yes or no?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
No.
Yeah, they're coming. All of the exclusives are coming, damn it.
One of the really wants to put them out there. Xbox will take them. I don't think it's the other way around, though.
One of the things that people aren't talking about is they need to have support for smart TVs. If you have a smart TV, PlayStation and Xbox need to release an app that goes on your TV that will sign you into Xbox Live or PSN and let you stream right to your TV instead of doing tablets and phones or PC. Because once you can connect your controller to a TV via Bluetooth and you launch the Xbox app and you play your games there, like that will be the ultimate to like just drive over to your friend's house and say, dude, you got to check out, Wolfenstein New Colossus. Check this out. I'm in level 5 or whatever. I'm in the middle of the game, and you just go and you load up. It syncs your save, and you're right there, and you're showing your buddy like, check this out. This is like the most insane thing ever. Yeah. Like that's or like some girl on Twitter was complaining that her family keeps hogging her Xbox because they want to watch Netflix. And I said, this is where Play Anywhere or the xCloud comes in handy because she goes in the other room with her Nintendo Switch and plays on her Switch, but she's like, dang it, I want to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And I'm like, this is where xCloud is so powerful because it doesn't replace your favorite place to game. It means she goes into the other room on one of the other TVs and launches her game right where she left off, and they can go play on Netflix.
Yep.
Well, and people forget that Steam a couple years ago put their hand at this, and they also put their hand at like consoles, and they figured out like, wow, this is kind of harder than we thought. So I mean, this is a huge thing that the industry's been trying to knock the door down for quite some time, and Microsoft has the resources and the power to do it. And you know what? Sony does too, especially with their gaming prowess. And so does Google.
The answer I want here. Hey, chat. Yes. Hit 1 if yes. PS4 games are coming to Xbox. 2 if no.
2.
No, I really don't think they will, obviously. Like I said, I covered it all in my last video. I really don't think they will. Same for Xbox games. No way. But hey, I figured I'd have a little fun with it because how long have we gotten shit from the other side of the aisle that don't look into anything, that don't care about Googling or using common sense, and they just say, you know what, Sony will never, ever compromise their exclusives to this box, even though they've done it already. They've already put Killzone and Bloodborne and stuff on PC through PS Now. They've already tried games as a service years ago when they started PS Now, and yet Microsoft are the bad guys. So once again,
it feels good, man. It's a little bit of eye for an eye. God was nice enough to bless me with 2.
3, actually.
Oh,
What is happening?
There's
Okay.
one south of the border.
hey, Shane in Super Chat says, Merry Christmas, and of course, Happy Holiday. Thank you so much in the Super Chat. Hey, so yeah, that's the PlayStation games coming to any device. This is official. It is a real job posting. Once more, did a video on it. Last video, check it out. We've also got Phil Spencer winning Person of the Year. Person of the Year.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. Who gave him Person of the Year? Bill Gates? Bill Cosby?
Gaming Biz or Game Biz?
Game Biz. Okay.
Game Biz.
So why did they give him Person of the Year, Colt?
Well, it was interesting that I don't have the headline in front of me, but they said that the PlayStation took the crown for the best games, but Phil Spencer took everything because of everything they did for this entire year and everything that they are doing with the adaptive controller and buying studios and changing where you can play and giving you flexibility and options. So yeah, it's kind of a tough thing for people to hear. They think that Phil Spencer has been ruining Xbox for a long time.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense because apparently Zalker, like people have been going nuts about this, right?
Yeah. They also said that it's the reason why he's Person of the Year is because he's made Xbox exciting again for a lot of gamers. They're looking forward to the future, and it was actually really cool. They talked about not just him, but the people he surrounded himself with. They said that he's surrounded himself with a great team, which is a sign of a good leader that's not afraid to surround himself with people that are smart as shit. And that's what he's done. He's brought people in to boost what Xbox is doing. And a lot of people have been in a positive light with Xbox lately, except for the fanboys. But everybody knows that the future is bright with them, and they've done a lot of things that it's consumer friendly. And that's just awesome by Phil Spencer. And he sticks to his guns. He doesn't back down. He just does. He says what he says, and that's it. Like, it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome to see. It's well deserved.
Colt, what was the quote about games on the PlayStation? Blah 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 blah.
From Game Biz?
Yep.
Oh, or which one?
You remember I talked to you about this. They said something about Sony had the game, something.
Yeah, that's what I tried to say in the beginning of my. Let me look it up.
Oh my god!
I mean,
basically,
I just said
they
it.
say Sony had these
It has
games
the
this
crown.
year.
Yeah, they said they have the game's crown, but Phil Spencer. I mean, it would be better if we had it in front of us.
Sony had the crown, but Xbox took basically making it exciting again. That's what it was. Like,
yes.
Sony has the crown in sales and all that, and games were really good, but Xbox has brought excitement back to Xbox, which was almost non-existent for the last 4 years or something like that. And it's hard to have done that and build that for the last 4 years. And Phil earns a lot of that credit, and they're giving him credit this year because a lot of that hard work he put in is coming into like light now.
If I just want to add real quick, Phil, I don't care what anybody says, Phil is mostly responsible for the direction the Xbox One X went in. If all these leaks that we're getting with all these new consoles that we're going to touch in later on in the show, he has his hand deep into that. And let's just be honest, he's taken the brand like completely like within 360 degrees. Like before, like last year, the Xbox was just in the gutter. Everyone's excited about these new consoles that are coming out. They're excited about these new acquisitions from these studios that they got. I think the future looks bright. And let's be honest, Microsoft as a whole, like as a company, is behind the Xbox brand, and they weren't for the last few years. Like you got Natalia Satel, you got the CEO over there talking about Xbox and how much millions of dollars they're going to be pumping into the brand. So I think he put the brand in a good place, and I think it's well deserved.
He brought it full circle. Andrew in the super chat, thank you so much. He says that the panel is stellar. No, thank you. We do appreciate it. Everyone tuning in, thank you so much. Hit that like button if you haven't. It's real easy. Just look under the title and hit that little thumbs up button. Yeah, D, I agree with you. I think Phil's had to do what he's had to do. He's made $10 billion annually now with Xbox, right? A dead brand. That's quite impressive, I would say. He's also basically just said, hey, give me my games he's ignoring platforms. He's ignoring preferences and biases. He's saying, what did I pay for? Oh, I paid for Halo 5. Should I be able to play Halo 5 on any device? Would that be cool? Is that beneficial to me? And how does that benefit Microsoft really? Well, users, right? Activity, right? But ultimately, he's looking at it from a consumer standpoint saying, it benefits me to be able to play my stuff where I want and how I want to play it. So I completely agree. Phil has done a ton of work, and despite what some say, because some people have a problem with Phil because they say, well, look what Donnie D did. Donnie gave us a bunch of games at the beginning and blah blah blah, even though the 360, if you really think about it, the IPs were kind of sparse. We talked about this before, but people think Donnie brought in all these games, but ultimately Phil was basically ahead of all that, and it was approved by Donnie, right? So Phil brought in the Sunset Overdrive, the Rise, the Dead Right, all that stuff that people forget. Donnie approved it. Donnie was fired, let go, whatever, and Phil got his job. So bad Donnie.
And the article actually talked a lot about the studios and how much variety of games are going to come in, and that Game Pass is a vocal point, and how they're going to bring in not the same type of game every year or every few months whenever they start get it rolling, that every developer they've brought excitement because each one of them has a different prowess and strength that can bring a different type of game to the Xbox platform, which is pretty cool to hear.
So yeah, he did talk about Game Pass and how basically the player engagement is up by 600%, right?
Yep.
Which is insane. People are playing 6 times the games, and that's a good thing no matter how you want to cut it. It's not a look at Microsoft. They're trying to lie their way out of a paper bag, right? Or whatever.
Well, I'm seeing that people don't even understand how this game industry works. I hear the opposite all the time. Everyone's been telling us that Xbox Game Pass is going to just kill sales of games. Like you said earlier in the show, they're just going to spend $10 and rip off the game and then leave, leave for $10 and get away with nothing, right? And now we're seeing that they're getting 6-fold engagement on these games. So, I mean, everything has been proven otherwise. I guess some of these people in the community just don't understand how it works.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy that every game has 6 times more players that are on Game Pass. They said that's the engagement. That like if a game's a multiplayer, there's 6 times more players on it after going on Game Pass. Like that's obscene. That's like crazy.
And that makes sense. Shady, what's going on with this whole Apple buying Sony rumor thing going around? Have you kept up on this?
I haven't really kept up on it. I just know that it started, sprouting legs last week. All of a sudden was that Apple was swinging in and buying up, I think it was Sony Studios. So I'm not sure if that was their movie studios, their game studios, the whole goddamn company. I'm just not sure what the fuck is going on. But I mean, it would be nice, I think, not maybe the whole Sony, but I want to see maybe one of these big dogs, Google or Apple, get in there, buy up PlayStation, a successful brand, and just push the hell out of this. I mean, we got even Sony extremists out here being like, maybe Sony backed out of E3 to save money. I don't want a company that needs to save money like it's some goddamn teenager saving up for, a date night to be running the game industry. We need some of these companies that have a massive financial stability and are able to push the limit, in my opinion, on all fronts, not just exclusive single-player games.
Hey,
so it's good news to me.
Speaking of pushing the limits, Darj Knight has pushed his. He has to pass out. He says in the super chat, see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much, bud. We do appreciate it. Sorry, I figured that was just the perfect segue there. So you think that when the Sony extremists are even damage controlling the E3 thing, it's definitely a problem. But do you think that, where do you think these Apple rumors are coming from? I know I just kind of put you on the spot, but
Yeah,
Why
I'm not
is this
really
a
sure.
thing?
I don't know where the hell they're coming from, to be honest. But I mean, we're seeing Sony crouching really, really low here. For all we know, someone has decided to look down and pick them back up. I'm not too sure. Where I really don't know. I didn't dive deep into it, but if it's true, I'm sure we'll hear a lot more of it.
So the
Fonzie?
rumor is, I'm sorry to
Go ahead.
interrupt. The rumor is Apple is purchasing Sony Pictures. So their movie.
Yeah, the movie
Sony
division.
Pictures. Well, that's like one of their biggest money makers, right?
Mhm.
So would that mean that Apple now owns Spider-Man? Oops, I mean controls the IP for movies of Spider-Man,
Oh,
if that's the case, or does it go back to Disney? Because Sony doesn't own Spider-Man at all, people. I got to say it again, because it's always coming up. Jesus.
Well, yeah, they
By
don't.
the studios, who's going to control Spider-Man in movies? Apple?
They have a licensing deal with
Yeah.
Spider-Man, and that's it. Yeah, they don't own Spider-Man. But shout
I
out to
wondered.
Fonz. Xbox is the best box. Yeah, Fonz. You fuck. Hey, hit me up if you want to come on, bro. If you got time, I'll shoot you a link. So yeah, Sony Pictures. Thank you, Luca. You did my job, and I do appreciate that. It's always well appreciated. I didn't have time to.
Somebody has
get
to.
that one. Yep.
Oh,
yep,
all
yep.
good, all good.
Yeah, I was
Let's
pretty
just,
sure it was always just the movies, but I saw guys running with like the whole company's going to get bought up, and kind of like,
Yeah.
that's the way it goes. But I'm pretty sure if there's going to be anything, it'll be the movies.
Yeah.
Sony, bring back the iPod.
And in regards to your question from earlier, Shady, so I'm looking it up now, and it says apparently in the contract relating to the Spider-Man IP, it says if Sony, so I guess Sony as a whole were to be sold, the rights would revert back to Marvel, and then there's a matter of distribution and production rights. So
Jeez, Luca's on it today.
yeah, so
Good job.
oh, jeez.
What? I mean, it took me like an hour to find that.
Oh,
Anyway.
thank you. That's nice.
Hey, so yeah, Apple not buying Sony. Rumor was Sony Pictures. Who knows? New Xbox marketing approach, Colt Eastwood. Do you remember the conversation we had about this one?
Yes, I do.
What was the ad and what was different?
That's another thing I have to memorize. They said basically games don't only look better, they are better on Xbox. That was pretty close to word for word, which I thought was pretty aggressive, and it's about time they were that aggressive.
Yep.
And there was quite a bit of salt. Like, did you see that, Zocker? Like a big old T100 truck bed full of salt just get dumped off when they said that not only do games look better on Xbox, they are better.
Yeah, man, it was actually pretty cool. I actually enjoyed like the aggressiveness and the facts behind it. You know, it was pretty nice.
There are facts. It's true 4K. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
this
it
year
is.
has been amazing. I've said it a million times. Every major, huge game that's come out on the Xbox One X has been super close or right at native 4K. Isn't that right, dealer?
Hey, Rand in the super chat says, "How's the corpse doing here lately, dealer and Colt?"
Stinking.
Hey, corpse, how you doing?
Doing just fucking great, man. I'm crispy smooth over here.
Crispy
Little
smooth
bitch
bone.
ran.
So
my
yeah,
God.
that's what we want to see, guys. We want to. I mean, why not? I think Microsoft's finally flexing the old pecs, and they need to start doing a little more because they've got some momentum going. And Sony is, as Shady and I like to say, what is Sony doing right now, Shady? Crouching down.
Into a grave. I think they're digging a grave. That's what I think they're doing. No, I'm just
Oh, I know you keep putting
out
that
of the
in.
mouth. They said they're crouching down now to stand up tall again later. I mean, they're getting all their ducks in order. I think next gen is going to mix things up, so to speak. Video game industry has been pretty standard for almost 30 years. Graphics get better, mediums kind of change, but in general, it's been pretty the same. So I think it's going to get mixed up pretty seriously next gen. And Sony, I mean, how could they not get involved? Right now, they're the market leader. It makes perfect sense.
I'd like to ask Luca a question here. What exactly would they have to do to make you very, very excited for consoles in 2 years? What approach, and think about this, what approach could you possibly think of that would really, really make you be like, wow, that is really cool. Like, that gets me really excited about the future of gaming.
Okay, well, this is me personally, but I would like my games be 60 frames, like across the board, you know. So
That's a good one.
yeah, that's just what's important to me. And you know, I want to go into PC, but if we can get that on console, then I'll stick with console because it's easier, you know.
You're getting that on console, Luca.
Yeah.
Maybe not across the entire board, but that's a very, very good answer, and I would have to agree. Chat, let us know what you would like to see. It doesn't have to be something as simple as performance, though that is what many of us value. Off the wall shit, man. Built-in foot job machine, or anything. Just let us know in the chat. I know that you definitely are kind of with us in saying that Microsoft should improve their marketing tactics. We've said this. Part of the reason was Terry Myerson was over there and he had the monocle in his eye and he's slapping everyone's wrist trying to get any money. But now that they're kind of, maybe they'll take this new, more aggressive approach, knowing that they've got the superior hardware for the next 5, 6, 7 years. So is that, I mean, what do you think they should do? Should double down on the aggression despite the assault?
Yeah, they need to double down on the aggression for sure. This generation, like, let's just be honest, marketing, they're nowhere to be seen. Let's just be honest. Sony is killing it. I was especially impressed with their Spider-Man promotions, like, you know, on the trains. It was
so cool.
It was everywhere. It was just everywhere. And like the Walking Dead, you know, all the popular shows. Sony always has their commercials out in the forefront, and Microsoft is like nowhere to be found. And this has
the Game
to change.
Awards was nothing but Sony commercials, right?
Exactly. And like I understand Microsoft doesn't have a whole bunch of things to advertise at this moment, but at least make an attempt. This whole generation, honestly, tell you, it's just been really sad to see Microsoft's marketing for the Xbox brand. It's just been sad.
And two, what they got to realize is that no matter what you do, Microsoft, be that very mellow, boring, stupid fucking marketing, or more aggressive, marketing that gets attention and makes people think, you are going to get shit on. It doesn't matter. Fuck the haters, the guys in the Twitter thread of your newest commercial that came out or whatever. They're going to hate you no matter what. So you might as well just rub your advantages in their face and just, you know, make them hate you till they love you, right? And speaking of Spider-Man, I was playing that DLC. What is that? The I don't know, the one where you're with Black Cat. And I gotta say, man, the heist. I gotta say, like, everything they added into that DLC is just the worst fucking side content from the regular game, with the exception of the Black Cat actual, you know, mission. But other than that, they just added a bunch of here, go do this, and the stupid metal challenge things, you know. I really love Spider-Man. Thought it was a great game, but this DLC so far is kind of trash. Just thought I'd throw it out there in case you're wondering. I did pick it up, and it wasn't even on sale, so I feel bad. But regardless.
On that marketing front, man, I want to see Xbox go crazy hard and aggressive. I mean, marketing is all about dollars, and last time I checked, Microsoft has $1 trillion of these bad boys. I mean, with third-party marketing deals, I would like to see Microsoft literally just monopolize the whole fucking thing. These companies have their hands out looking for money. I say drop it in there, and every single third-party game is marketed with Xbox. Like, make it difficult for your competition when you're able to do so. It's all about perception first before price, in my opinion. If you think the product is fantastic, there's a big buzz around it, you see it everywhere, it doesn't really matter how much it costs within reason for a lot of people. They want it. So I say they should just throw massive amounts of marketing money on this. Even though there isn't a hot game right this moment, you advertise the brand, that it exists, because a lot of people, you know, are running with Xbox has no games, it's not here, it's not doing nothing, no one owns it, no one plays it. Prove them wrong and get it out there in the public's face.
Xbox.
Go ahead.
Xbox. I was going to add to Shady. Xbox made some. I guess they couldn't see it coming, but they picked Battlefield 5, Fallout 76, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which aren't the biggest, best games ever. And Sony got a hold of Call of Duty, and they got a hold of Red Dead Redemption 2. So, yeah, Shady's right. They need to dump a bunch of money into, and you got to kind of do what Sony does. They kind of try to make it look like Xbox doesn't exist by grabbing the biggest third-party games and throwing
and putting exclusive on the building.
Yeah, only on PlayStation.
Yeah, that's right. So, like, do something similar with every single game and help these companies pay for the marketing. If it's a smaller game that wasn't even going to get a commercial, Xbox should make a commercial for it. Like, you just blanket it, and all of a sudden the perception will change relatively quick out there. The most of the industry is made up of casuals, not the hardcore like us.
Hey, I'm getting DMs from some people that are in I guess are good friends with you know, some of the guys on the other side, right? That some of the kind of more radical guys on the other side. And they're saying that basically no one over there, no one is talking about these PlayStation games going to any device. They're not even talking about it in DMs. Like, they haven't even acknowledged that it happened yet.
Out of sight, out of mind. If I stay in my house,
if I can't see you, you can't see me.
So I'm sorry to interrupt, and divert back to what we were talking about before, but I was actually talking to my friend Slomo about the marketing thing, because he was talking about how Aaron Greenberg needs to be fired and all this stuff. And I said that I think that next generation, it's going to be a clean slate, and they really have the chance to really prop themselves up. And I think that everything that Phil Spencer's been doing, and he's been getting commended for by getting the new studios and just really giving a better perception of Xbox in general, I think it's going to really mean something next generation if they start off on the right foot. I was even talking to someone I was training yesterday, and he seems like a pretty casual gamer. He's got a PlayStation 4. I mentioned I game on Xbox, and he was like, I guess we all have our preferences. And it's like
Gosh.
so many people still have that mindset, and I think next generation is the perfect time for them to really turn it around, because it's going to be a clean slate. And I think that includes, hopefully that'll include the marketing as well, and they'll just really start pushing it forward.
Yeah, I see the marketing changing actually next year. I mean, we've heard E3, obviously Sony's not going. So it's, if Xbox is the premier show next year, then obviously third parties are going to go to them. I mean, where else are they going to go? And that's kind of what we've been hearing, and kind of like what is common sense to see, is that these third-party games are going to go to Xbox because it's the only place showing at E3. So we're going to see maybe that comes to fruition.
Got to give a big shout out to G-Man on the chat, Y9 Power. I saw Noof in there, a bunch of just thanks to everyone who showed up. We got about 600 people watching right now. Hit that like button if you can. Let's try to get to 300 for the end of the show. Maybe tweet this bitch out for us. It really helps. So yeah, Luca, I think you got a very good point. This is something I've talked to somebody that's trying to partner with me behind the scenes on. They're talking about the future of Xbox and how right now Xbox is kind of getting shit on. It's got that perception. Makes you wonder if they're going to keep the Xbox One name. Keep in mind that they're still going to be producing Xbox Ones for quite some time, and all your Xbox Ones are going to work when the Scarlett or whatever comes out, the Xbox 2. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with the name. But basically, the guy's saying that Microsoft right now are setting themselves up very well for the future. They've got a hand and a foot in everything right now. Streaming, power, games are on the way. Massive games, I'm told. And, things for people that are on this side of the community, they're only going to get better, because Microsoft can't possibly do what they did in 2013 again. They are in a completely different place. And that
different people
really reminds me of that. Yeah. They're really able to capitalize on their strengths and their new funding. So that's a very good point, Luke. I agree 1,000,000,000%. We got to move on to topics. We got a ton of great topics coming, guys. Hang in there. Batman Court of Owls. And even if you're not a Batman fan, maybe there's something here you might get, because maybe you like Splinter Cell, right? So this is a leak that we didn't talk about last week until I looked into who's actually making this new Batman game. And this isn't confirmed, right? But keep in mind that the WB Montreal team did actually send out a picture of, I think, one of the producers of the game wearing a shirt with the Court of Owls logo on it, right? WB owned DC. WB Games have been pretty much working on Batman games since 2009. Well, that actually Rocksteady wasn't owned back in 2009, but Arkham City, they definitely own Rocksteady from there, and they've been pumping them out ever since. Arkham Origins came out in 2013. This is the WB Montreal team. Now, some of you may say, well, fuck, that's not good news, right? I didn't really care for Arkham Origins, even though I thought it was like an 8. I thought it was a pretty good game, but I'm also a big Batman fan in terms of the games, especially. But this Court of Owls game has a new lead creative director, right? So this guy came from Splinter Cell Blacklist, which was, in my opinion, one of the better Splinter Cell games. He also worked on Far Cry as well. He worked on some of those things. So essentially, you're looking at a Batman Court of Owls game, and I'm thinking 2019.
Oh, man, that'd be awesome.
Game. So this upcoming year, and you are looking at a pretty big development cycle here. Shady, I know you just beat Arkham Origins. This was the studio's last game, but under a different creative director, new boss, new direction, and potentially a much better narrative with a ton of side stuff. What are your thoughts here upon hearing all this?
Ooh, I'll take all that sweetness. I mean, the Court of Owls I'm not overly familiar with, but Zucker filled me in a little bit there, and it's kind of like a secret society in Gotham that's kind of started to rear its head and show how much control they actually have behind the scenes. I'm all over conspiracy stuff and big elite groups like that, Illuminati confirmed.
Yes.
So that has me interested, and the Batman Arkham series is one of my favorite franchises ever since that game came out. I love the gameplay loop of being Batman in those games. The fighting system, flying around, all the gadgets, it just works so well. And man, they deliver on their version of Batman, in my opinion. Story-wise, narrative, it's not slow, it's not too fast, it's just paced so good. As you said, I destroyed Origins last night, and I got my last Riddler trophy today before the show, so I've cleaned that game up, and I'm on to the next one. But I'm hoping this is a real thing, and I'm hoping it's a soon thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Arkham Origins, I do believe, was revealed via a Game Informer cover. And that came out, I think, in October of 2013. So that was this studio's last game. And 5 years later, we've got some news of their next. And they'll have technically had 6 years of not really doing much. So is it, I mean, can it be, because we know what Rocksteady are working on, right? We've heard this behind the scenes. We can't say anything, but we know what it is. And it makes perfect sense that they're releasing a Batman game with this team, and then Rocksteady are going to follow it up with a non-Batman or Superman game in 2020 for next-gen hardware, and of course probably work on the Xbox One as well. So, Zalker, real quick, tell us what you can tell us about the Court of Owls without spoiling anything potentially for the game, and then we can move on, because I know we don't really focus on one game this long,
Yeah, they were created by Scott Snyder, who made the Batman. He was writing it for about 6 years. He had an awesome run, and this was the first story he kind of wrote about Batman. He swung for the fences, created his whole new villains in the Court of Owls, and they became awesome and very part of the Rogues Gallery. They make the city into a character almost like Gotham City, and they're a part of it deep in its roots. And it kind of challenges Batman to. He loves Gotham. It's his city. He brands it. Everybody knows Batman is Gotham and Gotham is Batman, but they're there and they kind of actually mess him up and kind of show him like, hey, this is our fucking city. And it's pretty awesome. And it could tie in, especially with the story, it could tie in with the Bat family, Nightwing, Batgirl, Robin, everybody. And it's, that's what the story involved. And it's really cool. It's really exciting to see it. And I can't wait. I hope they make a movie of it because it's that damn good. But the game, man, it's exciting to see what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm. And that new, if you want to look into him yourself, the new creative director of WE Montreal is called Patrick Redding. So if you want to look him up, he's on Twitter and stuff. He does head up that studio. They got rid of the guy that did the last Prince of Persia game, the cell shaded one with all the color last gen with the long giant fucking scarf. That's the guy they had leading the studio for Arkham Origins, and he's gone. They got someone else. So. Let us know what you think about that down below, or of course in the chat if you're here live. November NPD, Colt Eastwood. What's the story here? Xbox
it's really
records, huh?
It's really good. Matt Piscatella from NPD says, for the first time in history, 3 consoles platforms achieved more than 1 million units sold in November, as Switch, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One each generated over 1.3 million units sold. That's crazy.
So in a single month, Xbox sold 1.3 million. So now we know for sure that Xbox One has at least 3 million sold in its lifetime.
Oh my gosh.
D-Batch,
I did not expect you to do that joke. That's funny.
I don't know, man. I wish
November, man.
I missed that whole segment. Can't lie to you. I'm sitting here staring at my son, and I'm just drawing a blank.
D's such a piece of shit.
Real quick.
It's 1.3 million sold for all 3 platforms in November for the first time ever. So Xbox One has sold 1.3 million consoles in November alone.
Wow. So they won NPD.
No.
Oh,
No, PlayStation was ahead. He also says that PlayStation did run into some out of stock situations with the freaking Spider-Man Slim, which is like the hottest thing since Fortnite. Yeah, just really, really, really good. But just it's amazing. That's amazing to see that kind of sales. And I don't know. Just
I
consoles are still
I
huge.
think big part of it, to be honest with you, is the X. The S, of course, it got a discount on Black Friday. I don't think it was really the greatest deal. Obviously, the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man bundle was just fire.
Yeah.
But the Xbox One X being $100 off, I think a lot of people picked it up. That's a big discount, man.
Yeah, I think it's still $100 on the Xbox store. I think
Right now
$100.
it's on sale. Yeah, you're getting like double the visual quality in the Pro for the exact same price. It's nuts. And I was looking at my year in review on Xbox. My time with the PlayStation and the Xbox, 95% of my time was playing on the Xbox, and I played God of War and Spider-Man. So it's amazing how much time we actually spend on exclusives each year. You'd be surprised if you took a look yourself.
Hey, Jay Blaze in the super chat says Batman Night of Owls is an animated movie, Zalker. So apparently they have delved into this in the realm of animation.
Yeah, I have that animated movie, and it's in there. It's a lot different than the comic, but it's pretty decent. And people should watch it, but it's a little different. It might confuse you with the characters. That's why I didn't bring it up. There's a lot of different characters in there that they kind of put for the hardcore.
Gotcha. Mega Badsy, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. You're in Australia. Fucking, what the fuck are you doing up right now? Hey, we always appreciate everyone that shows up live, man. We get people at 4 a.m, like fucking, they're barely awake watching the show. We do appreciate it. We got to give a shout out to 600 people or over 600 people watching this live, guys. Hit that like button if you can. It really helps. Hey, I guess we can move on to this update that has kind of been leaked through Steam, a beta program where they're building some kind of crossplay functionality with Xbox right into Steam. D, have you heard about this?
No, I haven't.
You have not. Well, you might want to Google something while we're talking about it, because I want your thoughts on this. So
just present it to him and then ask him.
Well,
I want to hear what he thinks.
It was basically leaked by one of their Steam betas, and they are looking to basically somehow directly connect some kind of Xbox crossplay into Steam, from what I saw.
I did. Yes, I did see that. Yeah, it's in the back end code of the beta there. That's interesting. That's honest to tell you, if I could have crossplay with everybody on Steam, of course I'd want the PlayStation guys to be involved too. But honestly, I'd be a happy camper. That'd be awesome, man. Because you guys know that I play a lot of my games on the PC, and when you guys are having your game nights, I miss it a lot of the times because I'm on the PC, and to be able to play with you guys, that'd be awesome.
Well, or you could just turn your Xbox on.
You know what, man?
No.
I'm starting to get allergic to that 30 frames per second.
Well, then Xbox 2 should make you pretty happy, huh?
Oh,
and we know it's not called Xbox 2, goddammit. It's just a thing.
It is Xbox Snap 2, goddammit.
Okay, D says it is Xbox 2. Shady, what are your thoughts on this?
I think what it's going to do, if it's real, of course, and comes out, is it's really going to expand the options for mouse and keyboard on Xbox. Because right now, I believe Zocker brought it up a few shows ago, is that the games we have available to us with mouse and keyboard are all cooperative. We don't have like a Call of Duty as an example, because the amount of mouse and keyboard players just on Xbox, I don't think are enough to be filling blackout modes efficiently and quickly and stuff. But if you open it up to all these PC guys, I don't even think Call of Duty's on Steam, but bad example. Other games, we could start seeing just crossplay and mouse and keyboard support, because there's actually players already there for the Xbox guys to play against. So I think that's a good thing. I mean, I would like to play with more people, as long as they can keep the cheating and the hacking out. I know that is an issue with a lot of PC stuff due to its open nature. If they can keep that under control, I have no problem with it, really. I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I think if you don't mind me going, I think it's Steam for a long time, and Valve, they've programmed a lot of stuff in the back end that you've seen. They're extremely elegant and high end. They've done a lot of stuff like that where it's, with PlayStation, Xbox, everything, because they're prepared for it. And I think it's to expand games, like you said, mouse and keyboard, Counter-Strike, mouse and keyboard support on the Xbox, and get crossplay with that. Things like that might actually start coming over, or Warhammer Total War. Games that are RTS or base that you need a keyboard with might start showing up on the Xbox because of something like this. They found the leak on GitHub, which is an open source where you put code and you can look up stuff. And, a lot of developers use it to get ideas and help each other out. And then it was posted on Reset Era again. It's pretty awesome, and I think that Steam is trying to expand. They just made Counter-Strike free to play and had Battle Royale added to it. So they're trying to expand their user base. Steam has seen the competition with Epic and Discord come through, so of course they're going to try to expand and adapt like they should, and they're probably
You know
going to
what
try to
the
use
huge
Xbox.
fan is the amount of fucking games they make.
Yeah, they have made nothing, and hopefully all this this competition starts putting Valve in the driver's seat to start making games like Portal again or Portal 2
They
and
got to.
all those fucking amazing experiences.
Look at all these vendors that are leaving. Like EA doesn't have their games on there anymore. Activision now does everything to BattleNet, Fallout, and Bethesda. They're going to their own thing. Epic just did the same thing, and the reason is because they got to pay Steam 30% of every sale. And they're like, why are we doing that? We can see internet. We can have our own distribution center.
Yeah,
So
Ubisoft is
Steam
heading there
no
too.
longer just got like, they're no longer like a guaranteed thing anymore, in my opinion. Like they've got to start, and they got plenty of money, don't get me wrong, but eventually Ubisoft are going to go. They got Uplay, but they still let you buy their games on Steam. You launch it, and it launches Uplay as well. But you get what I'm saying? Like they've got to start pumping out some more games and start getting that talent in line there.
Yeah, they. I haven't bought a game on Steam in the Steam sale in probably 2.5 years. The Xbox sales have caught up, and so has the PlayStation. The console sales have caught up to how good of a deal it is during the sales, and they're just better to be on there, and they have better games available on top of it. Ubisoft has Uplay, and they're looking to probably leave Steam too.
Yeah, well, the whole Steam thing is interesting. It's boring as fuck, so we're going to go ahead and move on.
Moving on.
I want to talk about the Xbox. Something you're going to hear about next month. Xbox is dropping a program to trade in your physical games for digital games. Now, the way this is going to work, and it's actually really, really interesting. And I've talked to Brad Sams. I've talked to him through DM, and I've kind of tried to clarify some things here to make sure I've got everything right. But if you didn't know, Brad Sams is an insider. He's the guy who leaked Halo Infinite. He's the guy who leaked Xbox Scarlett. I've talked about him several times in videos. Basically, Xbox, when they reveal this discless Xbox One S, which we're told is next month, right? That's January. That's when you hear about this.
Yep.
They're also going to debut this physical to digital program. So you're going to take your physical games in. You're going to get if I'm to understand it correctly, you take it into participating retailers. They take the game. They give you a digital code for that game in return. Now, they keep the games so they can crush them. It's not like you can put them in your Xbox and it gives you the code and you can sell the disc. No. But how this works, and this is actually really, really cool.
Yep. Pay attention, people.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Every Xbox game is identifiable, and this is the only console that does it apparently, because they all have built-in serial numbers. So no other console really has this. Every single Xbox game has a serial number, according to Brad. And what this is,
excuse me,
this is a leftover initiative from 2013. The reason that every Xbox One game has a serial number is because of the DRM that they were going to implement in 2013. If you remember, when you bought an Xbox One, you had a patch. You had to patch it when it first came out, or you couldn't play it online. You had to patch the new OS and get rid of the DRM stuff. I'd really be interested to see what that stuff looked like if you didn't patch it out. Like if somebody actually booted it up and what it looked like, or if it ran any different. I would really like to see that, but that's long gone. Long story short, this whole serial number thing is leftover DRM, or at least the way they were going to manage the DRM from 2013. So you put an Xbox One game in, their database reads that disc and knows what game it is, and of course, if it's been registered, that's why the serial codes are there. And how this will work is when you give your game to them, they can then use the same system to give you these digital tokens. So I thought that was really, really fascinating that they are using 2013's DRM technology to give you your new digital codes for your physical games when this new Xbox One S launches. And I would imagine that you're going to be able to take any of your physical games and just trade them in no matter what Xbox you have, or else it doesn't really make sense. There's no point, they don't care if you got an X or an S. They don't care if you got a disk drive or not. They want to get rid of those old used copies, crush that market, and kind of get people in the digital train. Shady, thoughts?
I think the reason that they're actually doing this is because of the whole xCloud thing. You cannot stream a physical game that you own onto your phone. How the hell does the Microsoft service know that you own this to stream it to you, so to speak?
I think it's that too. Yeah, I think you're definitely right there. I think it's another benefit.
It's to push people into the streaming stuff and allow them to have access to all these physical games that they now own. If they choose to go that route, of course. I mean, they didn't say that every Xbox next gen is going to be discless. That's just an option, people. So there's still room for physical guys out there. But I think that's the main reason as to why this is happening, is they're pushing the industry into a different direction. And if the people want to go that way, they have to turn their physical games into a digital code, basically. I like this also on the aspect that sometimes you can find guys out there like slash and burning their physical games on bargain finders, eBay, anywhere. So you can end up finding a wicked deal physical that's cheaper than the digital and take it in and trade it. And now you've got your digital code, which I also use Game Share, so it's 2 for 1 with the digital code. I like it. I never look at physical sales ever because I never buy them. Whereas now with this program, I'm going to keep an eye out and see what's out there.
Holy crap, what a good idea, Shady. I wasn't even thinking about that. Like, yeah, you can get, you can get these games like for half the price of the digital copy. And I didn't even think about that, Shady. You said that I have a Game Share partner. Like if I buy a game for half price, I get the digital copy for both of us. That's really super pro consumer. Like, if you're mainly or only a PlayStation gamer, pray and hope that this kind of thing would come to the PlayStation as well.
Dealer, you said before I drop some crispy smooth facts, you said that this is the only console doing this or capable of doing it.
It was something like that. Yeah, talked about.
Well, so the reason why they can do that, and if we go back like a month or so when we were talking about the name changes at PSN, they weren't able to do it or having trouble with it is because of that ID thing you're talking about in their database. So Sony would have to revamp a lot of their infrastructure to even be able to do this. And as for physical copies being put on your Xbox, back in 2013, they said you could put your CD in, it installs the game, and you don't need your CD anymore because that code. So they made this infrastructure, Xbox did and Microsoft, to last throughout the future. So that's why they're able to do this. They can just scan your disc, give you a code because they already have the code in the database that will give you a digital copy for it. Yep. So it's actually like really cool because PCs have been doing it for forever, for a damn long time. So Xbox decided to do that. And that's why they're the only ones capable of doing it because they have the infrastructure since the beginning to do it.
Well, PC, it's a little different because if you put in a disc, usually you had a set of codes you had to enter that were in the book, and that's how you did it. Whereas Xbox, it's all in their database, and you put the disc in, it knows exactly what that disc serial number is,
Yeah, just another awesome feature of like programming and making stuff accessible for the future because now they're finding a way to use that code, which is freaking awesome and way more convenient for all of us.
Luca, I know sometimes, you tell me that, you get bored at work or something sometimes. And would you ever just get your phone out and fucking play a game on it, like using a controller or something? You probably never see yourself doing that, right?
Well, I just don't have time to do it. So I wouldn't be able to.
Oh.
And yeah, I like at work. I'm busy, so I wouldn't be able to do something like that.
What about a different scenario? Let's say you're waiting on someone. I don't know. Would you use this kind of streaming service? Could you ever envision yourself doing so?
I could see it. I have a lot of mobile devices. Like I have an iPad and I have a Kindle as well. And I think if it had a game that I wanted to play, like Destiny, I could definitely see myself doing that. Honestly, I think this is great, and I think it really ties into them saying, "Hey, we're bringing everything forward and backward. You don't have to leave your games behind. People with the X, don't even worry about it. You're going to be able to play our new games." So I think that's great.
Mm-hmm. And soon you'll be able to play God of War and Spider-Man there. On any device, Luca.
Anyway. My
Smartwatch, yeah. So yeah, hey, we've also got some information regarding the next generation Xbox controller. According to Brad Sams, they've already got models of this controller, or the Elite V2 rather, with USB-C and stuff. We've covered that stuff before. But apparently across the board with the next Xbox, you're going to be getting USB-C as well that comes standard on just the regular standard controller, which I guess could cause maybe a charging issue. For maybe if I have an accessory that uses the current port to charge, you might need to change that cord or that dock. But I use like the thing where the battery's on the bottom and it rests on the copper prongs and charges that way. Wouldn't be an issue for me. But long story short, this thing would charge way, way faster. and probably you might be able to do a few things you couldn't do before. But he also said that the charging port is one of the biggest weak points of the controller. I'm sure some of you guys have dropped it while I was plugged in, and that thing breaks in there, it wiggles loose, and it starts messing up. That's one of the biggest reasons for return. So USB-C doesn't have that weak point apparently, and you're looking for you're basically able to get that on a controller starting next gen. He also said that they have a prototype of the current Xbox One controller with USB-C in the lab, but they're not going to release that because it wouldn't look too good with a base Xbox One controller just newly released to have a much better charging port than their $150 Elite controller. Stuff like that. So you can't have that out there in the wild. That'll be something they probably drop next generation as well. So I just thought that was interesting. Something real quick we could jump on.
Real quick to that though. Most likely it will come with a dongle because I have a S9 and it comes with the dongle to make it interchangeable between the new USB and the old USB.
Your mic's pretty low, D.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I was saying it'll probably come with a dongle that'll let you, charge it on, with the old port. Switch it back and forth because most of the new phones they do come with it that have a USB Type C just in case you have an older system. So they'd probably add that. It's pretty cheap to add it in. So.
Hey, we got to give a shout out to almost 650 people watching us live, guys. Hit that like button. We appreciate it. Let's try to get to 300 before the end of the show. Shady, was that you?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, as long as I can still sync my Xbox One controllers I have now to this new monster, I'm all for it. It's fine. Keep improving them, but it'd be nice if we could use the ones that we have now. Like I would still use some of the 360 controllers that I have. Actually, some of them were like barely touched by human hands by the time the gen ended.
Only dog hands. No,
they just sat there, and I don't think the controller actually is going to change that much. It's got the two bumpers, the two controllers, 4 face buttons, start, select, D-pad, 2 sticks. What's the deal with not letting me use it? I think they're going to, so it's a mute issue, but I just hope it's a real thing.
Well, the USB-C port in the controller is just to the controller, right? It's kind of like a USB slot on your PC. You can plug any phone charging cord into it. It'll be the same way with the controller. You'll be able to use that controller on your Xbox and vice versa, because I'm pretty sure they'll still use Wi-Fi Direct and Bluetooth. So that's the wireless solution they use. So you should be good. I don't think they'll do any of that. Luca.
Okay. So if they do this, does that mean we're not going to need traditional batteries anymore? Or is it just like added on?
I don't know. maybe they cut a deal with Duracell and they're like, just give us 10 more years, Microsoft.
Right.
If they do go internal, they got to go with whatever the hell the Switch used for their Pro. That thing lasts for like 48 hours of playtime with charges damn near. It's more like 24 plus, but it lasts so long compared to the PlayStation controller. I'm lucky to get 5 hours when I have my headset plugged into that thing.
Yeah, PlayStation controller is awful. I hope they don't forego the batteries. That's one aspect I love of the Xbox controller. I have the option of putting, buying a plug and play, or buying rechargeable batteries, or just buying regular AA batteries. And I like that option because if that controller dies, if the built-in battery dies, that's it. That controller is dead. You got to go get another one. And sometimes people just overcharge it, and they damage the battery cycle.
Yeah.
And you get, what you get with the PlayStation, it's running like 5-6 hours and it just dies.
We don't know what deal Microsoft has, but they throw in 2 Duracell AA batteries in with every controller, whether you buy it separate or it comes with your console. And I just think if they spend an extra $1 or $2 and included a battery pack in each one of those controller boxes, a rechargeable one, then that would make all the difference. That's what... Like the Sony guys who have that built-in battery, they like to say that, I don't have to deal with batteries coming in and out of the controller. But,
I haven't
there's a lot of people that use
in years.
I for a long time, like through almost all of my Xbox 360 time and the first couple years of my Xbox One time, I was using rechargeable batteries that I kept in the wall next to my controllers. So I just pop them in and out. I could, it was cool with the 360. It was like a magazine. Pop that thing out and I dump the batteries on the floor and reload and get back into my game.
I feel the same way, Colt. That's exactly what I do. And my controller hasn't been plugged in over a year. It's fantastic. Yeah. I'd rather have that than like the internal option that degrades over time. Or
did you say you like changing out the batteries, Colt?
No, but
I mean,
I'm just saying. I bought a $20 battery pack of 4 of those NIHIM or whatever batteries, and they lasted me like 6 years. You know, it's like don't whine and cry with me about batteries. And then just last month, dealer had me buy the 2 battery pack with a little stand. So now I just cradle my controllers like he does, just kind of put them in there at the end of my session, and the next morning I pick them up.
I haven't dealt with batteries in years because I literally take my controller, set it on the dock, and it charges, and I don't fuck with battery. And that's the cool thing about batteries is some people will just look at the negatives, but there are positives. You get third-party applications,
battery joke,
third-party battery solutions that are far better than the one that comes in the PlayStation controller, for instance. You can get battery packs that charge. I saw one, it was like a supercharger pack, and it charged in like 15 minutes. I was like, what the fuck? So third party, if you leave that stuff open to competition, you're likely to get really cool accessories out of it. But, you know, if you don't, then you're swapping batteries forever. Luke, you have something to say?
Yeah, I actually don't mind the PlayStation controller. The way the way that my room is set up, I have my PlayStation controller plugged into the cord that that came with the Elite controller. I have it plugged into my PlayStation, and I mean, honestly, I prefer the internal battery. I personally I'll go out and buy batteries. That's not like an issue for me or anything like that. But for me, you know, when I'm sitting here gaming, I don't have to worry about getting up and changing my battery or anything like that. And it's not really an issue for me. You know, it's not something that I've ever had to deal with. And I've had my PlayStation 4 since 2014. It's 2018. I haven't had any issues with it. I haven't had to switch out my controller at all. So
for clarification there, you say your Elite cord. Does that mean you have a wired PS4 controller essentially? Is it always wired? Like, is it always plugged in? I'm not slander. It's just, you know, okay.
No, it's always plugged in.
I like how you start off like because of the setup of your room, whereas a lot of other people, they don't have it nice and neat where they can just plug it in and play forever. It's not functional for them. It's a wireless controller by default. Why not use it as such if you can? I think it could be better in the battery department.
I mean, I prefer the internal as well, but that's what I was saying with the third-party thing I got. It is an internal now. I just rest it on the dock when I go to sleep. And I don't fuck with batteries either. But
when you go to sleep,
but you still have the option to swap it out if you ever want to. That way, that controller is going to last you forever. In my opinion, and I think it has to be said, the PlayStation controller I think is the worst controller ever made.
Quit hating.
The placement of the thumbsticks is just awful. Okay, it's got a good D-pad, but
people prefer that though.
Awful. I can't stand the place. It's just cramped. The touch screen or that touchpad, hardly any games utilize it. You know what's it there for? And then you got that stupid blue light that never ever turns off and contributes to loss of battery. I don't know. I personally don't like the PlayStation controller. I'm actually personally right now looking at some controllers that look like the Xbox controller but work on the PlayStation.
What about that speaker on the controller? Don't you love when your games start barking out like Fisher Price walkie-talkie sound effects at you in the middle?
The speaker, I will say the speaker thing, when they do use it, it is effective. Like in games like Resident Evil, like scary games, it can be effective at times. The speaker I don't mind, but the other stuff is just unnecessary, honest to tell you.
Well, I would say that I definitely agree with you about the touchpad. I've never really used it, and the light is unnecessary as well. But I don't mind the controller. My hands are really small though, so I know that people who have bigger hands, it's
baby hands.
Yeah. People have bigger hands, it's kind of cramped for them, but for me it's perfectly fine. It took me a little bit to get used to the Xbox controller because it's like structured differently and it feels firmer in comparison, and it's my hands are small, so it took me a little bit of time, but eventually I got used to it. I'm good with both controllers. I've never had an issue with either one of them, and I know that a lot of people have a preference for one or the other, but since I started off playing on PlayStation essentially, and then I switched over to Xbox, I guess I don't have the same problems that I know that most primary Xbox guys have when it comes to switching over to the DualShocks. I know it's like a
thumbstick placement and all
that. I'm used to it.
So I had a hard time getting through the PlayStation. Sorry, who did I interrupt? Sorry. But I had a hard time going to the PlayStation controller because of the touchpad. When I first started playing Spider-Man, I kept hitting it.
Yep.
And the map would come up and I'd be like, God damn it. But it's, I just started playing. I beat God of War, so I've got through Spider-Man and God of War, and I got kind of used to it, but it does feel cheaper and it does hurt my hands after a while because, like Lucas said, I have bigger hands, so it's just doesn't feel right. And then when I go straight to the Xbox, it just feels way better, and it does feel more solid of a quality controller to me.
Okay,
It is.
I gotta move things forward. We're talking about the fucking controller for 30 minutes.
Might as well talk about VR.
Colt,
Hey,
go ahead.
it's still on VR right now in Canada. If you want the Oculus Go, you can
Oh,
get
shut up, Steve.
$135.
Oh god.
Nobody cares.
Oculus Go.
Top Dog doesn't even come up here
Canada
anymore.
right now.
Okay.
Get back to the show.
What were you asking me, dealer? D, you're the best.
Jay Blaze says when regarding the old xCloud thing, streaming thing, Sony PS Now, streaming everything now. Here in the future, he's just going to stream his games to the DMV. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Really good idea. Maybe too good. Colt, did you want to sum up the controller thing that we got sidetracked on?
Yeah, don't let people tell you that the PlayStation controller doesn't last very long. I mean, I watched the video where you have to take it apart. You have to use a torque screwdriver, and they pop it open. You have to be careful not to break the ribbon on it when you open it up. And then that battery in there, there's a reason why the PlayStation controller doesn't last very long, is it's got a little lithium battery in there that is not as hefty as a battery pack or two AA's. So yeah, there you go. That's enough about the controller.
My controller went dead today playing the Spider-Man DLC. Actually, it pissed me off. I had a little tiny ass cord. I was fucking yanking it. Yeah, it was annoying, but
have you seen that picture? Somebody uploaded a picture of a guy plugged in with a USB to his PS4, and he's got like one of those 2-foot cords. And he's like, "Yay!"
Hey, let's get into the good stuff here. The Xbox Dev Kit. Now, just for clarification, which I made my video, my Dev Kit video, the night before the Danta name and all that leaked. So I didn't know about GameCore at the time. I hadn't heard anything about that. I was just kind of hypothesizing when I said I'm sure Microsoft will deliver them, easier tools to port to more platforms. The Danta name I did not know. I covered Lockhart and Anaconda. Now apparently the whole Dev Kit containing these two systems is called Danta. So it's the Danta development kit. Okay, so that's what Danta is on the thumbnail, just for those that were curious. There is also going to be, well, I'm going to cover the other less known things first. So we got those two things. Scarlett is apparently like the overarching family of Xboxes. That's what the code name is, apparently, according to Brad Sams. That's what Scarlett is, at least right now, from what he knows. It's kind of like the overarching family of the next generation Xbox 2s and all their stuff there. Then you've got the diskless Xbox One S that you'll hear about in January. That's codenamed Maverick. So be on the lookout for anything regarding codename Maverick. That's what they're referring to there. You've also got the xCloud game service, which is actually codenamed Anthem.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you've got the you've got GameCore, which is basically UWP 2.0. Think of it that way. It's Microsoft's software. They apparently spent a lot of money on this because, like I said in my Dev Kit video and the last podcast, they're going to be targeting a ton of different platforms in 2 years. So not only the new stuff, but the old stuff. And to do that, things need to be a little easier. And GameCore is their kind of custom, just close to the metal development software, kind of like UWP, where you would tune up and develop for one platform, and you could easily, through Universal Windows Platform, port it over to mobile, console, PC, all that stuff relatively easily. And at the beginning, it kind of didn't have much optimization. Games kind of had a lot of problems. But with Gears 4 and stuff, when developers started figuring out, I need to make another pass and optimize, and we can figure this out and do this better, then they started getting pretty good. Gears 4 is a really, really good PC port. So GameCore is basically going to be UWP 2.0. Think of it that way, but much easier. You're targeting more platforms. As I said in the Dev Kit video, developers will have to do more work, but that 40+ million extra console install base is going to be their incentive. They want to sell more games. Nobody wants to start over. So I feel like that makes perfect sense. And then you've got like I said, Danta as the dev kit for these things. Anaconda is getting a new xCloud service. Apparently they're working on Anaconda level game streaming, which is far out into the future. Right now they're working on the xCloud stuff, which is more on the Xbox One S's level. Anaconda is obviously several times more powerful than the Xbox One S, and they are working on a xCloud service for very high-end 4K gaming, but over the internet as well. Anything in particular grab your attention there, Dee, before we get into specifics of
the Anthem console. I did cover this yesterday. There was like so many Xbox leaks that came out yesterday. Like which Xbox do I want to cover? It was incredible. But I decided to do the streaming one, the Anthem. And basically they're going to be using a AMD Picasso APU, and this thing uses 15 watts of power. Like that's just unreal.
What?
So these rumors of the xCloud device, like the cheaper one being $150, I can see them being true because this chip is not going to cost them that much, and it's basically it looks like it's going to have four cores and 8 threads.
I mean, think about it. You can get a full-on APU on the PC side for $69.
Yeah, incredible. So it looks like it's going to be running a 4-core 8-thread CPU through multi-threading. It looks like they're going to have some type of Navi GPU on board. It's going to be a lower end one, right? So it looks like it will be capable of maybe doing some stuff locally without using the cloud, but it's more geared towards the cloud. And based on the specs, and this is all speculation because we need more information, it's looking like it'll do 1080p 60 frames per second easily, and I'm thinking maybe even up to 1440p 60 frames per second based on those specs. Like 15 watts, like that's incredible.
It's like a PlayStation 4 controller.
It's unheard of.
Well, like we said before, the whole xCloud box, the $150 box, isn't supposed to do a lot of work, right? It's supposed to stream in the games, but put the low latency tasks on that Picasso APU to keep latency down. So if you're aiming, the AI's running around, all the little tiny tasks like that can be put on the local hardware, and latency won't be an issue. You'll basically feel like you're playing a local hardware, but it'll stream in the static stuff or stuff like that in the background, And so that kind of makes perfect sense.
Another thing that stood out to me on the Anthem, I covered this in the video, I won't go too deep into it, is the machine learning that it's going to have as well. So it's going to basically study, the user's movements and what they usually do, and then try to calculate it, predict it, to lower latency. That's just incredible, man.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. Colt, what's your take on the Lockhart, which is said to be around the same power as the Xbox One X? But for a much lower price, and it should have Zen 2 CPU cores and a Navi GPU. What do you think this thing's going to come in at, and who do you think it's going to appeal to?
All right, I'm hoping, and I'm predicting it's going to come in at $300, which sounds nuts, but you're basically looking at the X with way more 60 frames capability games. I think that's the most irresistible console out of everything that we're talking about, like possibly coming out. You got something that comes in cheaper, probably cheaper than the PS5. It's going to run games that'll look really fantastic at 60 frames, like will look almost as good as the PS5. Like that's really irresistible. Of course, when I pull people online, they all say, I want to pay for the best. I'm going to buy the $500 monster Xbox, but like this,
really the $500 one's going to be in the minority of sales,
Yeah, I mean, we've been everyone's like, I don't want next gen, but like we're stuck behind this Jaguar core on the Pro and the Slim and the X and the S, and it's time to come out of that. But like with this $300 Lockhart, I'll call it the next S. I mean, that's amazing. And Dealer and I've talked about this at length. Somebody's Creep Freak says in the chat, 300 sounds about right. Yeah, it does sound about right.
2 years from now, yeah.
They're selling the X right now for $400. That's like the third time or second time just this holiday they've done that. Like this makes sense in 2020 to have the X visual power with frame rate doubled on most games. Like that is definitely a thing, and it's a really irresistible console to go for.
And you say 3 because we know that Microsoft are working on a more powerful console that's going to be faster than the PS5, potentially feature like SSD tech and stuff in it. That's probably going to be like $500. PS4, if Sony are smart, they will go for that $399 again.
Yes,
So
and I think they will.
I think they will.
Go,
Yeah, I think Sony will go for that $399, and I think you're dead on, Colts, with that $300 price I think it's a perfect price point. You got $150 streaming console for the casuals, for those that just want to play, that they don't care too much. They don't got a lot of money, but yet still be able to game. They'll be able to take advantage of Game Pass. So that's a good entry point. And you got $300, something that's as capable as the X, but with higher frame rate. And of course, you got the Anaconda. And the PlayStation, I don't know, man. It puts it in a tough spot. Like, of course, people are invested in the ecosystem, so they're gonna jump aboard too. But if Microsoft comes out blazing with exclusives from these companies that they've acquired, it's going to be very interesting next gen.
And the best part is Microsoft don't care which one you buy, where you play their games. They just want you to play their games. Quickly, the Anaconda is the next system, which is probably going to be $500.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, handle this price thing, because people keep saying that the Lockhart's going to be $400 because they're going to be selling the X at $300. I don't think in the next gen they're not going to be manufacturing the X.
It's kind of like the S to the fat Xbox One. They might phase out stock.
Yeah. And Z Black Rider said in here, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but right when you were talking, dealer, I had to cover this. He said Lockhart will be $400. Anaconda is going to be $600 to $700. I'll take bets. And it's like, we're not going through this again.
Yeah, I mean, you guys gotta remember that everyone who's saying this now said that the X was going to be $700 too.
Yes.
So this is 2 years from now. You can get a Ryzen APU on the PC for $69.
Thank you.
This is custom, semi-custom tech bought in bulk from Microsoft and Sony.
Not retail.
So you're looking at if Microsoft are smart, and if the new console is around the same power as the X or same performance, you're looking at around $300, guys. The X will be easily $300 in the future, and just because it's a Ryzen CPU over the Jag CPU does not mean it's more expensive. That's like saying, "Oh, my phone from 5 years ago, it just would never be as expensive as the new, more faster phone I just picked up." When in fact, likely it's probably cheaper. Look at TVs. The OLEDs have never been cheaper, and they're still like the best displays in the world. So tech comes down, especially as this stuff's put out. And Ryzen is known for its low power draw, its low cost. I mean, there's no way this thing's going to be more expensive because it's a Ryzen.
And 2 years is such a long time when you're talking about as tech is aging. The next generation consoles are being built right now. They're being ready to start. They're going to start manufacturing like next year, right?
Well,
or getting ready to manufacture. So they're locking down these APUs like right now. And yeah, go ahead, D.
No, sorry. Go ahead. No, finish up. Sorry.
They're locking down. The same thing went on with the X. When we first were revealed, the X parts, like the year before, they had locked everything down, and they just did all the engineering, all the R&D to make the console as economic as possible. And Microsoft is paying. How many of these APUs did they buy from AMD? For the X, it's like people just don't understand. They look at PC. We all know PC builds, and we keep looking at it like you're building a PC. It's not the same thing. They're getting a wholesale price on a semi-custom APU. And it's the tech's going to be a year too old, but it's going to really keep up with really good PCs.
That's what I was just about to say. The tech at the time when the Anaconda comes out, it's going to be old. We're going to get the announcement of the new Zen 2 processors at CES in a couple of weeks. So I would say they're probably going to come out maybe February, March. I'm not quite sure, but they'll be out in the early part of 2019. The Anaconda, most likely the PlayStation 5 as well, are going to come out in November of 2020, which is almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And like Cole said, at that point in time, it is old tech, and it's going to be very, very cheap.
Well, think about it. Like I said, the X is already $400 now. Not too long from now, it'll probably be $400 permanently.
Yeah.
We've still got a year and a half. 2 years. 2 years. For that price to come down, and if the X is around $300 by the time the next one comes out, it'll be just like the Xbox One S from the fat Xbox One. It was the same damn price as the fat Xbox One, but it had a Blu-ray player. It was everything was redesigned. It was so much better, Bluetooth controllers and everything. So just keep that in mind. Newer tech does not mean higher prices. You
may not be able to buy a brand new Xbox One X in 2020 in November. So like the price thing's not going to be a point. I mean, you're probably going to be looking at in the store. You won't see that dark gray box on the shelf when the new consoles are going to drop. You'll just
way, the Anaconda is set to be the probably $500 variant. Like I said, 10 to 12 teraflops, somewhere around there. I'm guessing the Lockhart will have the same gig amount of RAM as the X, with the GPU that's similarly similar in performance, with a Ryzen APU. So you're probably looking at very similar pricing on RAM, and all that stuff should come back down anyway. And then with the higher end model, you're probably looking at 16 gigs of RAM with a much faster GPU and some SSD technology in there as well. Luke, out of the two, given that they're both going to do 60 FPS, one might just do 60 at maybe 1080p more often instead of 1440p or higher. Which one would you choose if it's a $200 price gap?
The Lockhart.
So the lower one.
Yeah.
And I've heard that a lot. Like, I got a lot of Anaconda, but I've heard that as well. So you're not alone. Polygon seemed to think that it's they're
Yo, I was gonna ask about that. Like, I'm sorry to cut in, but like I just saw them make that comment, and I hadn't heard about the new Xboxes, so I was like, are they just trying to like be hip or something?
You know, that
And then like yeah, like I thought like, oh, maybe they're just trying to be hip and cool or something, and once again they failed, whatever. But now, like, hearing the context, the new Xbox is codenamed Anaconda, I'm like, oh, that's
yeah, Zucker,
pretty rough.
Zucker heard about it and he's like, what the fuck? Zucker, what exactly did they say, and what kind of impression is the sleeve on you?
Yeah, I looked at it and we were in a party and I asked them, I was like, hey, is this like some fake sock account making this little thing? And you guys were like, nope, that's Polygon doing it. And they said, my Anaconda don't want none unless you got games, hun. Wow. Like, it was just, yeah, it was just so, it's so funny. Yeah, that's, I put out a tweet saying how unprofessional that is, and that people on YouTube that create content, like everybody here and a lot of people and our friends that we've made, have more integrity and professionalism than an actual site that is known to be part of the quote unquote media.
We don't include me in that. I retweeted that stupid comment with my eyeballs don't read none of your garbage sites, son. Fuck Polygon and their stupid shit.
It's freaking shady. I love it.
Jeez, it is a ridiculous comment. I'm with Zucker. That's unprofessional as hell. And then to sit there and claim that there's no bias at all. They're here right down the middle, calling it even. I mean, it's horseshit.
That's perfect that you say that, because when you said that, for some reason, even though I've seen it all, 900p versus 1080p every single other day on IGN, there's some asshole holding up a 900 and a 1080 in the other hand. That really, you saying it like that, that's a website, a journalistic website, putting out a tweet like that. And I mean, it doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't give a fuck, but really thinking about that is kind of weird, huh?
It is. And I asked you, and you guys told me, you're like, yo, man, this has been something that's been going on the entire generation. And, newsflash, people, I'm new to the community. I'm new content creator. I got an Xbox in 2014 or 2013, whatever, Xbox One. I've always had a 360, and I didn't know it was this bad. And this last hour or whenever that thing dropped, I looked back at old articles, and they were holding that 720p or 900p to 1080p, and it's just like, what the fuck?
The articles are still up, dude. Like,
I know, I found them. I was looking at them. I was just
pretty bad. And the bad part is like some people from Digital Foundry, like John Linneman, will reference the console war sometimes, and I'm thinking, didn't you motherfuckers at Digital Foundry, you peddled this console war, made hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars off of the console war. You were one of the biggest reasons for the console war. You were counting blades of grass, and you were making a lot of money off of it. So for someone from Digital Foundry to kind of look down or scoff at the console war is kind of insane to me, but it's kind of been the thing throughout the generation. There's been millions of dollars made off of the console war. It's really, really crazy. And it used to be way worse. This is nothing. We wouldn't even blink at this back in the day. So it used to be way, way worse. People in the chat, we got a lot of people who've been around for a while. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And speaking, 600 people watch this live, guys. Hit that like button. Let's try to get to 300 for the end of the show. We're almost there. We do appreciate it. Luca, did that rub you the wrong way? Did you think, why the fuck are Polygon like engaging in this kind of shit? Like, don't you guys review games and you're like a real website,
Yeah, I think that I know that hating on Xbox is cool or whatever, and I'm a bit confused that they would even make that tweet considering they've just bought like 7 studios. So clearly those games are going to be ready. Like I don't know what they were thinking. Like I said before, I had no idea what they were talking about when they made that Anaconda.
You didn't even know it referenced Xbox.
I was like, what the like are they doing? Oh, they're doing it again. They're trying to like
you.
I was just, once again embarrassed for them. But now hearing the context is just kind of like, oh, color me surprised, which I'm not. And I just don't think that the person running that account thought about the ramifications of putting that little joke out there. I wish they had looked at what happened with when IGN did that post about God of War.
Yeah.
Being on the Xbox and the blank screen or whatever. And I was really annoyed about that because I was like, you guys are supposed to be professional. And people got on me about that. Like, oh, it's just a joke, Luca. Let it go. And I'm like, yeah, no, I get that. But it's like, we're supposed to look.
And they only said that because it was making fun of Xbox, not PlayStation. Those same people would have freaked the fuck out. Xbox Live is twice as reliable. Like, what?
Well, my friend explained. My friend explained it really well.
If I could just finish real quick. But yeah, I just, once again, these gaming journalists are dying. No one really respects Polygon, just like no one really respects Kotaku. Jason Schreier was the one people respected at Kotaku, but he's been screwing it up. So I'm not surprised and I'm not disappointed or anything like that because I expect this kind of nonsense from them. But I really just think that given how many times we've seen the same scenario play out with different companies, that they would stop and be like, hey, maybe I shouldn't make a stupid console war related joke when my gaming website is supposed to be neutral.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend explained it really well. He said it's plainly just reader service. If they bash Xbox, the PlayStation fanboys will flock and get clicks. So they'll get traffic. And the Xbox guys will flock to it to defend and argue because Xbox fans have a victim complex this console generation. So like Polygon can't lose because even if they do this, like, yeah, they look like trash, but they have the majority of the industry and the fans on their side that prefer PlayStation. So they'll get complaints from Xbox, but they'll have 2 times as many fans on the PlayStation side saying, man, that's some funny crap.
We gotta give a shout out to Snoopy. He had the funniest fucking reply. He just you just see Snoopy's account. It's like the top reply, I think. And it was just a picture of him. Do you want to block Polygon? And for some reason, I just fucking laughed so hard when I saw that because he didn't say a fucking word. He's just like, that's all it took. They're blocked. Like I said, it don't bother me as much anymore. I'm used to this shit, and I'm sure many of you are as well. You're probably also tired of it. But at the end of the day, they don't give a shit. They got the most likes they ever got probably on Twitter because of it. It's Polygon. Those dudes are weird as fuck. I don't know if you ever listen to them or watch their shit, but they're just really, really weird. So, Shady, you got anything to say on this kind of the Polygon thing?
No, I'm really with Colt on that. Like, I know why the media does this is to get clicks, which has, of course, been monetized. But that doesn't mean we have to like it or basically click on this shit anymore. I'm sick and tired of all the news around gaming constantly being negative and warnings. And just in case you didn't know, this game's going to come on and kick you in the dick. None of that crap. I'm just sick of it, man. Using that stuff to get attention. It's easy. It's cheap. Everyone's doing it, including the media, and it's just not a good look. I mean, this is all fun and games. Let's try and have some fun. For the love of God, start clicking on positive videos, people, and avoid that clickbait shit. If we all start doing it, it eventually won't see the clicks, won't see the money, and they'll have to change their ways too.
Yep, we've all dabbled with the clickbaitiness here. I did it recently with the Phil Spencer fucking horns on his head, trying to get all the Sony guys to watch so I could crush them all in one video. We've all dabbled, but when everything is fucking, constantly warning, fucking patch notes out for a fucking headset and it's on Xbox, so Xbox has AIDS, that kind of stuff. It really is and this is like the doomsday channels, right? It's so easy. If you want to grow, guys, just talk about how a game sucks or is failing. Fallout said there's still people hammering Fallout. I'm like, is that still really making people money? And that's the only reason that shit exists. Money. So, you know, the doomsday shit, it's so annoying. It's a weird negative form of clickbait that, what do you mean Witcher 3 sucks? Like if somebody put out a video right now, Witcher 3 sucks balls, I would have to click on that so I can fucking even understand how where that person's even trying to come from. You know,
people love negativity. They're miserable and they love to feel like they've got somebody who understands them. So they click this why it's dying or why it's failing or this is
does it suck?
Yeah, it's horrible.
Welcome to me channel. You know, so I just I don't know. We try to promote like a little bit more positivity aside from the podcast when we have to shit on some things, but in videos, you know, we're generally a little more positive. Gaming's like the best fucking hobby in the universe.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Just the negativity, people found it out and now they're running with it. But anyway, Anaconda, like I said, substantially more capable than the Lockhart. There's going to be 2 apparently day 1. And that's really, really fucking cool. You'll have your option. By then you can probably stream it on a phone. And if you don't want to stream it, or if you don't want the lower power one, you can get the more powerful one. So same people freaking out about streaming, consider that by the same logic, because there's a base model Lockhart that's substantially weaker than the PS5 or noticeably weaker, then you have to play on it because it's an option. You know, just keep that in mind. Like if just because it's an option doesn't mean you have to use that method, right? So
someone's saying Polygon might have deleted that tweet by now. We should go check.
Yeah,
I'm checking right now because I replied to them. So
they have such an awesome image to maintain. Polygon, burn the site down.
No, it's still there.
Oh, great! There you go.
How many likes has it got?
It's got 1.8 thousand likes.
Compare that to their last post.
Their last post has -75. No, I'm sure. It has 18, 41, and 32.
So you went from 32 likes to 41 likes to 18 likes to 1,800 likes.
Yep.
They knew what they were doing.
Polygon.
And it's just fucking sad, man. Like we're talking about Anaconda and all these cool stuff and consoles and gaming, and we're all fucking geeking out about it. And then these guys bring out this horse shit. It's like, what's the point of it, man? Wait till the fucking Anaconda wraps around you and crushes every bone in your body, you dumb fucks. Stupid ass bitch.
I'm just like really baffled that they chose that song to go with. I really don't know what they were thinking, to be honest.
It's a badass song.
Well, it's codename Anaconda. My Anaconda.
You know, I understand why, but I'm trying to like really wrap my mind around the fact that they thought that it was funny. You know, like I'm really just struggling to understand.
Well, they basically just did the Xbox has no games, that we've heard for like 2 years.
It's such a played out joke, but I don't get it. I don't get it. It's
like
dumb.
a dad joke. It's like a dad joke that came out of nowhere. It's like, oh, that was cool like 6 months ago. Cool.
Well,
like, I think it's so stupid. I just really think it's stupid, and I don't know, man. Like, I get that hating on stuff gets you clicks, but I feel like that can only go so far until eventually people are like, yeah, I'm just going to ignore it, because that's what I do now. I ignore the stuff that I know is going to irritate me or annoy me. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to watch that. And then people have to resort to other stuff. I think it's so stupid that they would even put out such a, it's dumb. Like I said before, I didn't know
what results.
I know it did, but like, I didn't know before what they were referring to, but now that I know what they're referring to, and I'm really just sitting and thinking about it, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they did this. It just gets worse as the minutes pass on. I'm like, God.
Hey, just got an email. Shout out to Captain Redbeard, one of the newest sponsors of RDX podcast. Thanks so much, bud. Hey, we got to get the fuck out of here, guys. Last week's show was really, really good. Our longest show ever. It actually cracked 2 hours. And this one, I'd say, is pretty damn close. So we are going to call it quits for tonight. Kind of a little tired today, honestly. So I'm going to go eat and play some games. We're going to start with some outros. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Hit that like button on your way out as we do some outros. Luke, where can people find you? What have you been playing?
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me, Dealer. I had a really good time. You guys can find me on Twitter at @TheAshAndLuca, and I just started Red Dead Redemption 2.
Ooh.
Cough.
Oh my God, sucker! Wait, better God of War.
Okay. Hey, Colt, what have you been playing, bud? Where can people find you?
I've been playing the ugliest game on the console. It's called Just Cause 4. But I still like it. I'm enjoying it.
I don't think it's the ugliest. It's not.
I don't know. It performs super well, so I just give it forgiveness, I guess. Yeah, it's been a really good week. Friday morning, I put out a video about how PlayStation will probably fall in line and will offer game streaming on all devices. And then today's news happened, and I couldn't be happier. It's been really cool. People called me all kinds of foul names all weekend long. And when this news came out, I just went into my video and added that source to the description and just started eating chocolate-covered cherries with my buddy.
D-Batch, what have you been playing? Where can people find you?
I've been playing God of War, Spider-Man, and I've starting back up Assassin's Creed Unity. I'm sorry, Unity. Odyssey.
Throwback.
And for those of you that are doing it on Google Stream, if you play up to an hour of the game, they'll actually let you download the game locally to your PC through Uplay. So that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah. You guys can find me on Twitter at D_batch and at YouTube at dbatch. And I just did a video yesterday about the Anthem specs. That's the streaming Xbox console and what they're going to be using in it, and you know, my theories on where it's going in the future. So check that video out, guys.
Yes, check that video out. We'll probably link it in the chat. We've also got So Shady, but what have you been playing? Where do people find you?
This last week, I jumped back into Batman Arkham Origins and absolutely destroyed it. I am going to tear into my backlog and rip that shit a new ass because it is getting way too long and it needs to get tackled sometime or another. So I'm going to jump into the next Batman. My indie scene was fruit racing this week, and online, I'm still playing Battlefield 5. You can find... Oh, yeah, it's actually pretty good. It's like a Mario Kart ripoff, a little cutie. It kind of feels like that part in...
what's it called?
Fruit racing. It literally looks like I just jumped out of the movie Wreck-It Ralph.
Where did you get it?
Movie. It's on the Xbox store. You know how when Wreck-It Ralph, half the movie was like that Mario Kart ripoff? It's kind of like that. Everything is all fruit themed and stuff. A little cutie game. I don't know. It's fun. Nothing staggering.
Shady the fruit.
But, yeah. You can find me here on RDX every single Tuesday. On Friday the 21st, that's this Friday, it will be a special breakfast show with Mr. Boomstick XL. I will be guesting on that. Yeah, thanks for coming out, guys. I love coming here every week and talking games with you guys. It's awesome. I'll see you next week.
Yes, we got the best chat in the universe. We've also got Zalker. What have you been playing? Where can people find you?
Just beat God of War last night. Fucking blew my mind. I don't know. I've been playing that thing every night. Dealer's been in the party with me. Everybody's been in the party with me. I mute the shit out of them when it's story time. The combat was great. And I think I'm going to jump into Far Cry 5 next. Play that on the X. And yeah, that's what I'm going to be playing for the next. Oh, and Mutant Year Zero. And yeah, you guys can find me at Zalker87 on Twitter and go to my channel, Zalker87. I just put out a video talking about the same thing Colt was and everybody else. PlayStation is killing exclusives. It's gone, people. Get used to it. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. And yeah, thanks everybody for coming around. It's been awesome.
Shinsai in the super chat says thanks for the show. No, thank you for showing up, bud. We do appreciate it. Did I get everyone? Because I forgot someone last week.
Lethal just threw out Zalker as an asshole in the chat. Thanks, bud.
It's true. Lethal knows Zalker very well.
He does.
Also, what have I been playing? I'm just glad to be done with school until like mid-January. It's break. So I've played the Shadow War DLC, and I booted up Spyro. Didn't get very far in the second game, which I'm telling you guys, those games are actually pretty fun. It's kind of weird. I guess it's nostalgia on the PS1. I have no clue, but was enjoying the first one for sure. And what is it? Played a little bit of Batman Arkham Knight here recently as well, which really sucks that Warner Brothers has not enhanced that fucking game.
Yeah.
Not only did they raise the price of all the fucking games, they raised the trilogy $60. Used to be able to get each of them for like $20 combined. So now it went from $20-$30 to $60 to own them. Then they advertise it as enhanced. I tweeted about this, and the third game's not even enhanced. So if you haven't already, tweet at Warner Brothers, even if you're not a Batman fan, because it is misleading, and tell them to either enhance the fucking game or take Xbox One X enhanced off the packaging, because it's misleading as fuck. So that's my little mini, I don't know where, fucking crazy, stupid idiot rant. And
Stormtrooper Island. Stormtrooper Island. Temptation Island.
Yeah. I was playing Forza Horizon 4 DLC. That shit is legit. HDR is insane. D, if you haven't tried that, like on the OLED.
I downloaded it. I'm gonna try it tonight.
Dude, it's pretty intense. Like it's one of my last sets of footage. And me and Zach were also playing a little bit of Ashen as well.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
thanks for checking us out, guys. You guys are the best chat in the universe. Check out those links down below and check out my last video. Just released it like an hour or two ago. We are getting the fuck out of here. We'll see you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
I said
Later.
it twice.